Hello, this is John Pristine with Pristine Health, where we eat clean and live healthy. Still out here in Costa Rica. The whole theme of my video since I've been out here is maintaining your healthy lifestyle, maintaining your lifestyle of fitness, even when you're on vacation. And like I said before, you loosen up a little bit when you're on vacation, but you don't just completely abandon your healthy lifestyle. You don't completely abandon your lifestyle of fitness. So right now I'm out here at this national park called Manuel Antonio, Parque de Nacional Manuel Antonio, and at one of the more beautiful beaches out here. As you can see, let me flip it around. Beautiful beaches out here in Costa Rica. So one of the things I do when I am on vacation is I walk a lot. Costa Rica is a walking friendly country. A lot of the attractions are easily accessible just by walking through them, especially if you stay nearby, if you have accommodations nearby. My hotel's not that far from here, so I didn't have to walk very far from here at all. I didn't have to take a taxi to get here or Uber to get here. I just walked up to the entrance of the park. I had already bought my tickets, and then they let me in. So, and then walking to the beach, getting to this side of the beach was probably about, I don't know, a 15-20 minute walk. And you can see the beach is pretty good sized beach. If you walk around that whole curve and back, I would estimate, let me see, if you walk this whole area right here, it might be right at a mile. I'm thinking right at a mile. So it's one of the things I do to stay in shape while I'm on vacation. I walk a lot. I get out and walk on the beach. I walk to the different stores, the different attractions, the different restaurants, and it's a good little workout. It gives you a light cardio workout, depending on how fast you walk, and then it helps you burn off some of the calories that you may, some of the extra calories that you may ingest while you're on vacation. A lot of us, we eat not quite as healthy when we're on vacation, and you can counteract that by doing a lot of walking. You can burn some fat off by doing a lot of walking, burn some calories off by doing a lot of walking. It's something simple you can incorporate into your vacation. It's not hard to do. It's actually enjoyable because you have the beautiful scenery like you have out here in Costa Rica. But even if you're in a place that's not, as beautiful as this, if you're like in, for example, New York City, where I was a couple of weeks ago. For those of you who have been to New York City, you know that, especially in Manhattan, that's a place that's I guess a walking friendly place as well. You take the subway, you take the bus, and you walk for blocks at a time, and that gives you a lot of exercise as well. So you kind of kill two birds with one stone. You get your exercise, you get to take in the beautiful scenery, and experience taking the culture of the place you're visiting, and at the same time maintain your healthy lifestyle, maintain your lifestyle of fitness. Oh man, wow, somebody is calling for help, so let me see what's going on here. Yeah, so I was just wrapping up a video that I was shooting for you guys. This is John Pristine with Pristine Health, where we eat clean and live healthy. I was just wrapping up a video that I was shooting for you guys, and I heard somebody screaming help from the water, and it was actually these people right here that you see walking by. They were out there, I don't know, they were probably like 50 to 70 feet out there. And you can see the waves are kind of rough right now. The waves out here are pretty big. People come out here to surf. This is a good segue into the next video that I was going to make, which talks about, my motto is just pristine health, where we eat clean and live healthy. And so most of my videos up to this point have been talking about the eating clean part and not the eating healthy part. I'm sorry. Most of my videos up to this point have been talking about the eating clean part, but not the living healthy part, right? And the theme of the videos since I've been out here has been, staying healthy, maintaining a lifestyle of fitness even when you're on vacation. And the next videos that I was going to shoot were talking about, the living healthy part, which is not just eating. It's, in the case of being in a foreign country, being abroad, being aware of your surroundings, being aware of your surroundings, being aware of the hazards that are in the local area that you may not be familiar with because you're from another country. And since I've been here, I've seen many hazards, that I was going to talk about in an upcoming video, my next video, as a matter of fact. But it just matters. It just so happens that one of the ones that I was going to talk about, just happened to show up while I was shooting the last video where I was talking about getting your exercise by walking. I'm walking on the beach. I was wrapping up the video, and then these people started. I heard these people from the water. This lady from the water screaming help, and these two people were out, like I said, 50 to 70 feet. And so I stopped the video, and I was on my way to try to help them. Right now, this is my first. I haven't been in the water since I've been out here, and there's a reason for that as well. I was going to talk about in these upcoming videos about living healthy while you're abroad, being aware of your surroundings. And so anyway, I'm a pretty good swimmer, but I've never been in the ocean in Costa Rica. And for those of you who are beach goers and who are used to swimming at the beach, you know that not every beach is the same. The beaches that I normally go to in the U.S., I'm very familiar with them. I've gotten caught in riptides before, but I know how to get out of them. And like I said, I'm just very familiar with the beaches in the United States that I go to. So I'm a lot more comfortable swimming in those waters. This water out here, I hadn't been in the water yet until just a few minutes ago when these people were screaming for help. So anyway, I turn off the video and I start on my way to the water to try to help these people. And there's another guy that sees what's going on. He's running to the water as well. He's a local, I believe. The other guy who went in was a local. And so he starts swimming out there, and so I start swimming out there. And immediately when I get in the water, I realize these are some strong currents out here. The waves are big. And when waves are big like that, waves, the way they kind of form themselves, they pull the water in front of them, up underneath them, and then I guess in so many words, spit it back out. And if you're in front of a big wave like that, you're gonna get pulled. For those of you who go to the beach a lot, swimming in beach water, you know that when there's a big wave in front of you, coming in front of you, it does pull you under. It pulls you under. So anyway, I'm out there trying to make my way out there to these people to help them. The other guy, he's swimming out there. He just, I guess he knows this water a lot better than I do, because he just got in the water and started swimming out there. And I get in the water. I'm walking out there. I'm more kind of like walking out there, and the first wave comes, right, and it pulls me under. It pulls me. The wave pulls me, and I'm like, whoa! I haven't felt that kind of strength in a long time. I hadn't felt that kind of strength in a long time at the beach. The last time I felt that kind of strength was when I got into the water in Florida when there was a storm out in the Gulf. And that was the last time I felt that kind of strength. But this was a little bit different. This was a little bit different because then with that storm out there, it was kind of like a constant pull. It was like a constant pull that you could feel as soon as you got into the water, pretty much. With this one, number one, the water is deeper, like right at the water gets deep pretty quickly, and then you don't feel the pull. You didn't really feel the pull until the wave is like right up on you. So it's high tide now. The water's getting close. So anyway, I'm walking out there trying to see if I can help these people, and I get hit with the first wave, and I realize whoa, this is pretty strong here. So I have to be careful, otherwise I'm going to get pulled out. And I'm a pretty strong swimmer, and I'm familiar with riptides. I've been caught in them and got out of them. But again, I'm in a foreign country. I'm not familiar with these waters. I'm just not. So I had to be careful. Once I got hit with that first wave and it pulled me under, I had to be careful. So then I started. I'm watching the people, and the guy who would swim out to them, he's already out to them, and he's kind of helping them. And one thing about rip currents is to get out of them, you can't fight it. You have to move sideways to work your way out of it. You have to move sideways and then ride the momentum of the wave. You have to ride the momentum of the wave, when the waves come. But don't try to fight the wave when it's pulling you. Don't try to fight the rip current when it's pulling you. So I'm moving sideways, trying to work my way to them, right? But fortunately, the guy who swam out there to help them was working his way sideways, coming back. He was working his way sideways, coming back, and and he was able to help them out and get them. Whoa! Water's getting too close. Water's. Back up. So anyway, fortunately, he was able to help them out, help them get out by moving sideways and working their way back to the shore, with the momentum of each wave that came. But anyway, the living healthy part of my motto. And specifically in here, when you're abroad, I'm here in Costa Rica. Part of living healthy is being aware of your surroundings. There are a lot of hazards here in Costa Rica that I'm going to talk about. I don't think I'm talking about them in this. I don't think I'm going to talk about all of them in this video, or maybe I should. This happened right in front of me, and it's a good segue into the whole conversation. The other video got cut off where I was talking about the hazards and the many hazards that are in Costa Rica. So anyway, on the subject of living healthy when you're abroad, when you're in another country, not in an area you're not familiar with, part of that is being aware of your surroundings and educating yourself on what the local hazards are. And as I was saying, I was walking along this beach recording another video about how you can get exercise just walking while you're abroad, and somebody got caught in a rip current. Anyway, they got out safely, fortunately. But the water out here is strong. Whenever you come into a foreign country and you're going to a beach, educate yourself on just how strong the water is. Are there certain times where it's stronger than others? I happen to know that from a guide that I conversed with. I took a tour through this park yesterday, and one of the things that the guide said was that the tour guide said was that during high tide, it's really rough. It's dangerous to go out there in the water. You can get pulled out and drown if you don't know what you're doing. So you have to aware of that. That's one thing you want to be aware of when you come into a country where there's a beach and you're actually going to get in the water. That's one thing. Another hazard that I came across when I first got to this location. I'm in Manuel Antonio, which is close to the town of Cuepos in Costa Rica. One of the things I came across was not far from here, close to my hotel, right on the beach. The beach is right across from my hotel. There's a sign that says that there are crocodiles. In the area, and that alarms me because I didn't think that crocodiles hung out in salt water. Now on the way here, I stopped at a bridge where you could that was a bridge over a river where you could look down and see crocodiles. And one of the locals that I spoke to there, who was selling crocodile teeth on the bridge, I asked. He told me about how the river goes all the way out to the ocean, obviously. And so I asked him. I said, "Well, are any of the crocodiles in the ocean?" And he said, "No." He said, they might go in there briefly, like right at the mouth of the river, and then they come back. But they're not. He said they're not saltwater crocodiles. They're freshwater crocodiles. So I was like, "Okay, cool." So I get to this place, and I see a sign right by the beach that says crocodiles are in the area. And the sign was in Spanish, right? It said crocodiles in the area, and it said and I think I took a picture of it. So I'll put a picture of it in this video if I can. It said crocodiles were in the area, and it said this is their natural habitat, and it said your safety is our concern, but it's your responsibility. That's what it said in Spanish, right? And then the sign that was English, I noticed that there was another sign like it was torn down. It was in English, but it was like it was torn down, like it was laying down on the ground, all bent up. And I was like, and I sent some messages to my friends. I was like, I said I think the crocodiles are plotting on the Americans or the English speakers, because my theory was that they tore down the sign that was articulating the warning about the crocodiles in English. So I jokingly said that the crocodiles were plotting on English speakers. So that's another hazard, the crocodiles here. So I was concerned about that. So I thought, man, I need to ask some questions about this. So when I got back to my hotel, and I spoke to the receptionist at the hotel, and I asked her were there crocodiles. I said in Spanish. I asked her. I said, there are no crocodiles in the ocean, are there? And she was like, and I'm like, what? What do you mean, And she said that she was like, yeah, I don't recommend that you go in the water over there. And she was talking about over there by where I saw the sign. She said, I don't recommend you go in the water over there. Stay way over there, over to the right. And when she told me that, I was like, what in the world? Like, what in the world? You telling me I have to worry about crocodiles if I get in the water? So when I heard that, I was like, well, I'm not getting in the water, until I know some more, not until I have more information. I need some more information on, just how dangerous or how risky it is to get in this water here. So my plan was to, go no more than, ankle high, maybe calf high. And I just when I just got in the water, when I was, trying to help these people, that was my first time getting in the water, and I went like way more than ankle high, like it covered my head. Anyway, that's another hazard here in Costa Rica, crocodiles. And they can potentially be in the salt water, depending on where you're at. In this area, it's close to what they call the mangrove swamps, and the crocodiles hang out in the mangrove swamps where there's brackish water. Brackish means, half salty, half fresh water, and they hang out there, and they can go. Occasionally, they'll go into the salt water, which is kind of concerning to me. So crocodiles, right? So the rip currents, and you got crocodiles. Then what else? There are these poisonous trees, which I can show you right here. Poisonous plants here. These trees, I can't remember the name. I did take a picture of them, but these trees are very toxic to humans. They will kill you. They will actually kill you. They produce these fruit that look like these green fruit that look like apples. Now, I had one of my colleagues told me about them, and she said she saw them and was made aware of them when she went to Belize. And so when I was going through the park with the tour guide, he pointed out the tree. He said, hey, and I think it is some type of apple tree, because I think in Spanish, I think manzana means, that's how you say apple, manzana, if I remember correctly. And I think the name of this tree is manzilla or something like that. And there were signs. So anyway, we were going through the park with the guy, and he pointed out the tree, and he said, hey, this tree is very toxic. Don't touch it. He said, don't touch it. And he said, if you eat the fruit, you're dead. That's what he said. He didn't say you have 2 hours to get to the hospital. He didn't say that, there's an antidote to it or something like that. He said, if you eat the fruit, you are dead. You eat the fruit, you're dead. He said, so don't touch it. Don't touch the leaves. He said he doesn't even recommend that you stand under the tree. He said if you stand under the tree, after a while you start feeling bad, especially if it's raining, he said. So that's another hazard in Costa Rica, toxic trees or toxic plants. It's a tropical environment. Tropical forests are beautiful, but there are a lot of hazards. So some of them, not all the plants are friendly, right? Are friendly. So there was another tour I went on, a night tour in the rainforest when I was up near the Arena volcano, and there are these flowers. These flowers there called angel trumpets. I can't remember the name in Spanish or the scientific name, but in English they're called angel trumpets. And when we were going through the tour, the guy said, "Hey, these flowers here," he said, they're very toxic. He said that people make tea out of them and to hallucinate. They're hallucinogens. And there was a lady on it too who actually, I guess she knew about them. She was like, "Oh yeah, that sounds like a good time." She she said, I really like mushrooms. And like, she was like excited. She was like, you could tell that she was interested in actually experimenting with them. And the guy said, yeah, they're kind of like mushrooms. But he said, if you take too much of this tea that you make with these flowers, he said it'll make you crazy for life. His English wasn't that good, and that's exactly what he said. He said, it'll make your life. No, he said it'll make your life crazy. That's exactly what he said. He said it'll make your life crazy. So I googled it a little bit later, and sure enough, they're highly toxic. Now, these, and that really concerned me because these were beautiful flowers. They smelled like honeysuckles. For those of you who grew up in the South, you may be familiar with honeysuckles. They're these little white flowers, and we used to eat them. Like, you pull out the little stem, you can suck the nectar off of them, and they're sweet. They're called honeysuckles. These flowers look like honeysuckle, huge honeysuckles. You can Google them. They're called angel trumpets, and they smell like honeysuckles. They're huge. They're probably like, I don't know, 20 to 30 times bigger than a honeysuckle flower, and they smell like honeysuckles. Now, I've been known to like taste a random flower in the wild. I've been, back in Georgia, back in the States where I live, I've been known to taste a random flower in the wild. Like, how does this taste? But after hearing about that and like experiencing, this out here, you won't see me doing that again. You won't see me tasting a flower or anything out in the wild unless I know exactly what it is, and whether or not it's edible, and if it is edible, like in what ways is it edible? Is it just the skin edible, or is the core of it edible? Is it, I need to know. I need to know exactly what this plant is, and if it's edible or not before I actually taste it. So another plant. Is there another plant? Oh yeah, another plant that the guy talked to us about. There were these beautiful like red and yellow and pinkish, they're like red and yellowish and pinkish kind of flowers. As we were walking through the forest, and he was telling us like, don't get close to those flowers. Don't get too close to those flowers, because he said a very venomous snake hangs out around those flowers, because those flowers attract hummingbirds. And this particular snake, that's a very venomous snake, just hangs out around the flowers until a hummingbird comes near, and then it catches a hummingbird. So he said, if you get too close to that flower, investigating, trying to smell it or touch it or pick it or whatever, you could get bit by a snake. So the plant itself is not hazardous, but the animals that hang around the plant are hazardous. Speaking of snakes, Costa Rica has, I think, over 100 snakes in the country, and like I think the guy said 13 of them. It was a number in the teens are venomous, and there's one that's extremely venomous called fer de lance. FER space DE space lance LANCE. Google it, and you'll see just how bad a bite from a fer de lance is. So we're going through well, first of all, so when I first got here, I did kind of go off the path when I went to the Reno volcano, and I was just exploring around that resort. I was walking around, and there was this like barbed wire, and just past the barbed wire there was a little stream. I wanted to go down to the stream, so I decided to hop over the barbed wire. As soon as I hopped over the barbed wire, the first thing I thought was snake, because there was a lot of grass. The grass wasn't extremely tall, but it was grass, and the first thing I thought was snakes. I gotta watch out for snakes, and I thought about the fer de lance. Snake. So I paused a little bit. I looked around. I was like, well, let me just be careful about how I step here, get down to the stream. And so I did. I was careful. I got down to the stream, and I came back, hopped back over the barbed wire without incident. But I did think about that, there could be snakes out here. And after that, I was like, well, when I was down at the stream, I was like, man, let me get out of here, because I don't know. I'm out here in this tropical rainforest, and all kind of animals and plants that I don't know about out here. So let me get out of here. So I hopped back over the barbed wire. Fast forward, I'm on this tour with this guide yesterday, and they're pointing out animals to us like iguanas and sloths and all this stuff, and then he points out a snake. And it's a fer de lance, one of the most venomous snake in Costa Rica. The most venomous snake in Costa Rica. He points out this snake, but it's a tiny, it's a baby snake. It's a baby, and it's a baby snake. He pointed it out to us, and none of us on the tour, I think there were six to eight of us on the tour, none of us could see the snake because it was so well camouflaged. We were on the path. We were walking on the path. The snake was about 1 foot, maybe 2 feet off the path. The guy was pointing it out, and we couldn't see it. We could not see the snake. He was like, look, it's right there. He was using the reflection from the sun He was using the reflection off of his phone from the sun to try to show us where it was, and we couldn't see it. We couldn't see it. Now he had the guys. They have these scopes that they use to set up and like zoom into whatever you're trying to see, right? So he set up the scope maybe about, I don't know, 4 or 5 feet from the snake, and we looked through the scope. And when I looked through the scope, I could see the snake, and it was a little teeny tiny snake that was curled up, like about the size of the middle of the palm of my hand, about the middle of the palm of my hand, curled up. And I could see it. When I looked into the scope, I could see it. It was only 4 or 5 feet away from me. I looked into the scope, I could see the snake, a little small baby snake curled up. And then when I moved away from the scope and tried to find the snake, I couldn't see it. Looked in the scope, I could see the snake. Looked away from the scope, I could not see the snake. And so I was like, okay, I'm determined to see the snake with my naked eye. And so I was looking, and the guy was like, yeah, right there. And finally I saw it, a little snake curled up, perfectly camouflaged, like 1, maybe 2 feet off of the path that we were walking on. Now, before that, I had stepped off the path. You better believe after that, I did not step off the path. I was right in the middle of the path. I stayed right in the middle of the path and did not step off the path. Anyway, this little baby snake, the guy told us, was actually more dangerous than adult snakes. The adult snakes, he said, get up to like, I think he said 6 feet. He said that the baby snakes are more dangerous because they can't control their venom gland. So when they bite you, they actually inject all their venom. Like they can't control how much they inject you. They inject all their venom, and so they're more dangerous. So yeah, it was remarkable to me how this extremely venomous snake was so close. This extremely venomous snake was so close, to the path that we were walking on, and that it was perfectly camouflaged so that we could not see it. And that was quite alarming to me. So again, like after that, hola, ¿cómo estás? ¿Es cerrado?
Sí, a las 3 la playa, a las 4 el parque.
Estoy en la playa y está cerrado.
Y aquí ya hay que ir saliendo.
Okay.
¿Está bien?
Okay.
Gracias.
The lady was saying that the park is, this part of the beach is closed, so I'll have to leave her in a second. But anyway, so you gotta be watch out for the hazards when you're in a foreign country. When you still want to live healthy. Part of living healthy is watching out for the hazards that are around. And so I talked about the rip current, talked about the plants and the animals, like the snake I saw when I was going through the park with the guide. One more thing, you guys, I'm sure have heard about the poisonous frogs before. Frogs that the Indians use to like put on darts and kill animals with. I saw those as well. When I went on a night tour through the tropical forest. And the guy said, you want to make sure if you see those frogs, you don't touch them because they're very toxic and they can kill you. I can't remember if he said that it will kill you like if you touch it, like if the poison can get through your skin and kill you. But I do know, like if you touch it, the poison gets on your skin and you somehow ingest it, put the fingers in your mouth, and your hand in your mouth, something like that. That can kill you. He said that the indigenous people, when they used to like put they would take the spines off this one palm tree. There's this kind of palm tree out here that has these spines on the trunk, these really tough spines on the trunk. He said they would take those spines off and then rub the tip on the poisonous frog, and then use that in blow darts to like kill deer or other animals. He said it'll kill a deer. He said it'll kill a deer. One of those darts with the poison from the poison frog on there will kill a deer in 5 to 7 minutes. So again, this is John Pristine, Pristine Health. So the beach that I was on closed, so I had to leave, and then also my phone overheated. So I couldn't record anymore. But I think I left off talking about that poisonous frog that I saw on a guided night tour. Again, I was talking about the hazards you need to be aware of. You need to make yourself familiar with the hazards when you're in a new environment. When you're traveling abroad, again, I'm here in Costa Rica, where there are There's a lot of beautiful scenery, pristine beaches. I guess I did use that word purposely, pristine health, where we eat clean and live healthy. So anyway, now I'm just walking back to the on my way out of the park. Another park, a national park called Manuel Antonio. Took a guided tour through this park yesterday, and I was telling you guys about how I saw that snake that was perfectly camouflaged. Now, the path that I was walking on, and so you can see it's a pretty narrow path, and the snake was just like off to the side, like right there. A really tiny baby snake was just off to the side, right there, and we couldn't see it. Camouflaged, perfectly camouflaged. And so once I saw that, I was like, oh yeah, I definitely. Once I saw that, I was like, yeah, definitely. I'm standing right in the middle of the path, right in the middle. I'm not straying left or right. I'm staying right in the middle. Anyway, just talking about, how you need to be aware of the hazards in the new environment when you're traveling abroad, and so that you don't get yourself killed. By an animal or a plant. You see, as I'm walking, I am, making sure I'm watching my step. As a matter of fact, I think I'm gonna end this video because I need to be focusing on where I'm going, as opposed to, making a video for you guys. So I'm gonna pick up on this a little bit later. This is John Pristine with Pristine Health, where we eat clean and live healthy.